Resilience isn't something we have or don't have. It is something we can build. And I am tired of it being this mystery. Oh, well, we're not resilient. Well, you can be. There are things that could hamper your ability to be resilient. There are things that could get in the way of your resilience and make you less resilient. And we can fix that. We just have to identify what they are. Some are hidden, some are obvious. The hidden ones we find sometimes have more control. So the goal is to identify the hidden ones so you can be in control. You can say, I want to be resilient. And this is what we do. So here you're going to notice I have here different ways to do that. We have the resilience index assessment. This is what I do to help you to be resilient. You come here and you're able to measure how resilient you are right here with the RX. That's what we're doing. We're RXing. We're getting you to identify how resilient you are. And then from there, you're able to understand, okay, so that makes me more resilient. And this is the resilience index. When you take the resilience index, you're going to get a full report. This full report is going to show you how resilient you are and what are the things that are taking away from your resilience. Once you understand that, you're able to make the changes you need in your life and you're able to be resilient and to be the best leader, employee, parent, business owner, because that's what keeps us from being our best self, is that we don't know what's in the way. And most of the time, I have spent 28 years working with organizations and individuals. I have also spent 20 of those years coaching leaders, executive, and entrepreneurs, and they get stuck because they don't know what's in the way, what's burning them out. Once we find out what that is, then you can add it to your team. If you're a team member, you can now contribute better to the resilience of your team. If you're a leader, you can now help your team to be more resilient because you can get your team members to identify and understand their resilience index. They get a full report that shows them their resilience skills, the challenges, the things that they're taking away from their resilience. And then we do the Resilience Competency Clinic. This is where we build and sustain and continue to maintain resilience because without that continuous growth, we lose our resilience and we fall back into a pattern of behavior. When people talk about being on the treadmill, I feel like I'm doing the same thing all the time. That's what happens because they've gotten a one-off workshop or they've gotten a one-off training and then they're back to falling back down. Resilience clinics give you a touch point every week. It could be a 30 minutes, it could be a 60-minute, it could be a micro prompt, it could be online, virtual, it could be an email, it could be a face to face. You get your micro prompts to help you to stay resilient because that's what's important. You have to stay resilient. And then we do our VIP days with the organization to help them to be more resilient. So in the corporate culture, we need to understand the resilience ecosystem, right? This is where, as a leader, you're able to see, how am I being resilient? What do I need to do to be more resilient? How can we create a resilience ecosystem so our systems, our processes, our policies and procedures are no longer burning people out, but they're contributing. They're not draining the energy and motivation of our people, but they're inspiring, they're uplifting, they're creating opportunities, they're processing and they are actually fostering innovation and high execution. So this is what we do in a VIP day. We do a keynote. You can book a keynote session where we just put your team through the resilience index. You may say, Joyce, this is too heavy. I don't want to do that right now. Fine. Let's end the year with your team members knowing how resilient they are, knowing how they can be more resilient, understanding their resilience index. schedule a VIP resilience index for your team, a keynote session. That can happen between a 90 minutes, not a 90-day, they'll have results. In a 90-minute session, we can do your resilience index, get your team to assess and get their individual report in one session. Then we can do that for a team, we can do that for individual employees, we can do for leaders, and you may want additional oversight. So we have the corporate dashboard where you can see a heat map, right? This will give you a heat map of how well your employees are doing in terms of their resilience. So you'll be able to see resilience for your team members either in by roles, by teams, by location. You can see how resilient they are. This is another element that you can add to your resilience strategy. So you can have your employees, you have new people come into the organization, you can onboard them and they can be part of that. In addition to that, you can book a half day workshop, right? So we also have the VIP half day workshop, and this VIP half day workshop gives you an opportunity to do the resilience index with your leadership, with your team. We go through breakout sessions so they understand. We also apply resilience clinics right in there in the half day so we can provide them with the information to see what's happening in their organization. Thirdly, we're able to provide you with the VIP, and this is a full day. This is a full day VIP, and this is an exclusive VIP day. This will give you the executive roundtable. This will give you the HR and leadership oversight and mapping the resilience KPI. It will also help you to understand the culture map for resilience, as well as provide with a half day workshop and resilience index for your teams, for your leadership, and for your organization. So plan your resilience strategy. Let's help you map out the resilience strategy. Book a call. The link is below where you can understand how we simplify resilience from something abstract to actually something you can measure, you can sustain, and you can maintain in your organization for maximum success. Go ahead and book your session right now because resilience is what we need. We're not going to get less busy. We're not going to get less complex. Our world isn't going to become less volatile, less uncertain, less complex. Our relationships are not going to get less ambiguous. What we need to do is learn how to thrive, how to adapt, how to be flexible, how to be agile, how to communicate at a different level. As robotics and AI become more interwoven into our workplaces, we need to up our human skills. And this is what we do with the resilience ecosystem. We're building the human capacity for your organization to excel, for your people to excel, because we're not going to go back to horses and buggies. We're not going to go back to the way it used to be. You had one central computer. I remember when I started, we had one central computer in the building. It was the big box. And everybody would go and line up if they needed something. Well, we could only do word processing at that point in time. If they wanted to get something printed from the computer, the world is never going to go back to those times. What we're going to have is robots in our offices, in our workplaces, alongside us. And we have to thrive because humans are resilient. And if we stop building resilience and we get less strategic with how we build resilience, then we will need to panic. But all the panic about, oh, robots are taking over, robots will not take over if we build resilience alongside and we build human capacity alongside robotics. Robotics will enhance our lives. Won't be something for us to fear, only if we are not doing our work with resilience, mental resilience, emotional resilience, social resilience. We're looking at environmental resilience, financial resilience, and in all the areas, intellectual resilience, occupational resilience, interpersonal resilience. We're looking at resilience, spiritual resilience, emotional, mental. All of these areas are important. And when we stop building resilience in those areas, then we struggle. So this is what I do when I come into your organization for the Resilience Index. So I want you to book a call now. Get your resilience index and let's help you start mapping out your resilience ecosystem. Because you know what? The time is now, and we need to be more resilient as the humans that we are. Let's talk. I look forward to your call.